Coming to you from the LoadingReadyRun underground orbiting moon base, it's the LRRcast. How is it going, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? What is it that you say at the beginning of your show?
What?
At the beginning of your live show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all gender identities, it's the LRRcast.
There you go.
Which is not like my show, but it's like my show.
It's like your show. It's exactly like your show. This is essentially your show. This is IDQ Derp.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
You should probably play something on your phone or something. I was just joking. Don't do that.
WordPad.
All right, guys. We are here for the second episode, LRRcast Resolutions.
Point two.
Point two. And I will say...
Point two, not 2.0.
No.
This is 1.2.
This is 1.2. 1.0.1.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is release 1.0.1.
Where we correct all the statements that they made previously.
Well, and this is what I was going to say. We discussed this, or at least I discussed this with myself, and this is how I would like to see this go forward, is that with us recording two versions of the same topic, I didn't watch their episode.
Neither did I.
I didn't listen to their episode.
Me neither.
So none of us actually know what Graham, Kathleen, Paul, and Cam actually talked about.
Why
So
does we paradoxically get the same show?
that's what I want to hear from you guys about. Is that good or is it bad? Maybe in this case it's a little weird because of the topic, which is New Year's resolutions. Maybe on sort of a broader topic, we would go in a little bit different direction. But that being said, I have no idea what direction they went in, and I don't know what direction we're going to go in. So let's start going in a direction.
Okay.
Beej, do you have any New Year's resolutions?
I don't normally ever... I tried that when I was like young, because it's like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's tradition. Everybody, what do you want to do? And I'm like an 8-year-old boy, and I have a high voice.
Yay!
And so...
You're Mickey Mouse.
I didn't know what you would like. What do I do to make myself any better as an 8-year-old boy? I'm just growing. But you try to think of things to do, and then you never do them. But this year I was like, well, there's two things that I did want to do, and I should just kind of start doing them and want to just set a date. And I said that this year it's going to be, I need to get better sleep, and I need to roll out my back every night.
Okay.
Sorry, what?
I've been really bad on both of those counts.
He removes his spine.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. It sounds like you pull a catch and like a ribbon of spinal material.
And then you roll it out, and then rolling pin.
Yeah, that was the other visual I got.
And then you just slip it back inside, and then you get a solid 8 hours of sleep.
After doing that, you're worn out.
You really do. So this is the first time in several years, we'll say, that you've tried your resolution.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because we're recording this a little later than Graham, Kathleen, and those guys did. We're on January 13th. This is coming out on the 14th. How's it gone for the first 2 weeks?
Oh, it's awful. I haven't stuck to it at all.
Ain't that the way?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, from my understanding, and I am I every once in a while I find myself being like, I'm going to do New Year's resolutions. But the fact is that the date means absolutely nothing unless you personally, it's with anything, right? It's, I'm going to lose weight this year starting on January 1st. Well, if you don't personally want to do it and you're just saying, I'm going to do it on the 1st because that's what everybody else says.
It's an arbitrarily designated, time marker.
Yeah.
And the idea is to try and put yourself on the hook because it sounds official. And of course it won't work because it's like you don't really want to do it.
No, you just think. Now, in fairness,
I'm sure there's a lot of people who really do want to better themselves, but
Well, no. I mean, there are absolutely. I mean, I like to believe that everybody wants to better themselves.
Yeah, but it depends on whether they're just sort of like, I sort of want this, or it's like I am committed to this line.
Yeah. So I'm sure there are people out there who are maniacs who don't want to better themselves, but they're so stubborn that they'll set themselves a New Year's resolution and actually carry through with it.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right? Like, those people exist.
Yeah.
I know a few of them, and they suck. Because it's just like, I'm going to lose weight this year, and then they do. And I'm like, what the fuck? How the hell did you do that? You didn't give a shit at all. And then all of a sudden you're like down 40 pounds.
Yeah.
you're an asshole.
But it's like any sort of structure, right? Like it's at
Yeah.
the date is arbitrary, but I mean it really could just be why not pick your birthday?
Well, exactly. Why not pick a Tuesday? Like
Yeah.
if you're
exactly.
if you're unwilling to do X on a random Tuesday in July, there's no reason that January 1st is going to be any different.
Yeah.
It might, and I mean, the big thing with resolutions, New Year's resolutions, is people will stick with them for a week
yeah.
or 2 weeks, or maybe even January, or maybe even they'll go for a couple months, but then it'll just stop.
The idea, I think, is that there's power in ritual, right? You know, whether or not that, I mean, the actual power is you, of course. There's no inherent power that any date has. It's what we decide it means.
I always feel that like ritual though is something that it either has it. Okay, coming as a Freemason.
Wait, are you allowed to say that on a
you gonna just
podcast?
steer
Yeah,
us?
I'm fine.
Oh my God.
I mean, ritual is really important, but ritual is one of those things that's very codified for us.
Yeah.
And that's something that got kind of laid down a long time ago, and everyone's like, "This is what we're going to do, and we're gonna go through these rituals, we're going to do these things," and it's like that's the stuff that just gets done over and over because we've all made an agreement. This is the stuff that has to get done, but it was done collectively, right?
It was by design,
Yeah.
as opposed to something that just sort of happened spontaneously.
Right. And for a person to be able to say to them, like just themselves, it's like, I am going to do this thing to myself. Well, then it's a competition with yourself, and you'll always lose.
Yeah.
Because future self will always be like, well, past self made a dumb decision. I'm not going to do that right now. So I think a New Year's resolution's cool when it's like, everyone's making a collective effort. Like we're doing, right, Loading Ready Run is now kind of made this decision that's like, we're going to start communicating using Slack.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that, because we can shore up each other's effort, we're actually doing a much better job of
It's sort of
doing
a
that.
self-enforced peer pressure thing.
Yeah,
Right.
And I think that's where that kind of thing, like a New Year's resolution, works better when it's a ritual you can share with your friends. When it's like not like I'm going to lose weight and you're going to do whatever. Like no, we collectively are all going to go to the gym on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
I've heard sort of stories about people who do stuff like that, where it's like, okay, we're all going to have a contest, like who can lose the most, and then you actually feel like on the hook, or like. There's nothing better than a stupid, meaningless competition to get people to do stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Especially for dudes.
So maybe that's what we do next year. Maybe next year, every single one of us within this group comes up with one resolution that they want to achieve, but everybody has to do it.
Yeah, we all have to get behind that one thing.
But that means we all have like 8 resolutions or something like that.
Jesus.
Like we all get to pick one.
Oh, no.
So it's just like I come in and I'm like so here's a simple resolution that I tried to do something last year and it didn't work out very well. And it wasn't really so much a resolution as it just sort of made sense to start at the beginning of the year as this project, and it kind of fell apart, and I'm sad it did. And this year I'm trying to do something sort of similar, which is experience. So we have a lot
Experience Beach.
Experience Beach. We have a lot of really awesome friends that we've met through this site over the years.
Yep.
Very creative, talented people who make a lot of stuff. And it occurred to me sort of in the last couple months that I don't really actually pay attention to much of it. I listen to a podcast here or there. I check out a web series when I have the chance, but I don't actually spend a lot of time enjoying the content that people I know and love create. Whereas I'll find myself coming home after work. Like I guarantee you I will too tonight just because I'm exhausted. I'll go home and I'll sit down in front of the TV and just spend 2 or 3 hours just sort of just spacing out, playing with my phone, stupid little clicky games, and watching boring rerun TV, where I could very easily be spending that time going out and experiencing, enjoying content that my friends make. So that's something that I've aimed to do in the last couple weeks.
It's weird because I sort of do the same thing. It's almost like you seek out something that's very low impact, you know, to just unwind by. Like I just dirtle around on the internet, and I started watching like live stream pro wrestling like stuff. I don't even watch it. I just listen to the thumping and commentary as I'm in like a Word document or something like that.
Yep.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yes.
So, I mean, that's been my big that's my big resolution for the year. I mean, obviously, I need to lose weight and eat better and exercise more. But the fact is that and I slowly am getting better and better at that. But it's not something that is going to happen overnight. So
what helped me was being told by my doctor that I have a heart attack by the time I'm 35.
Jesus Christ!
When I was 22 years old, and she's like, you will die if you do not change your diet. And I was like, I'm gonna change my diet. And then for 6 months I tried changing my diet, and I did. I went very hard at it, and then I got my blood taken again and found out that nope, you still have the same problem. In fact, it's gotten worse.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that was the problem.
That's some bullshit.
But what I did, like, even though I was like really good about sticking to it for 6 months, is I decided, okay, what I really have to do is make some key decisions about, like, I'm gonna give up French fries.
Yeah.
And then I did for like 6 months, and that 6 months, and that was the only thing I gave up. I didn't give up anything else. I drank pop and did whatever.
Yeah.
But then after 6 months, I didn't care if I had French fries ever again. And now I'll get French fries and be like, oh, that's nice. And then I'll eat a lot, and I'll be like, and no, I'm not going to eat anymore for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then after a little while, then it becomes don't drink pop. Then it becomes don't drink fruit juice. Just maybe drink water, and then those slow kind of things.
Yeah,
that
that's sort of what I'm trying to
life.
do. But best laid plans, right?
But baby steps. Is
Yeah,
the
I mean,
answer.
like, I figure that the one thing I could do is like try to reduce the amount of like sugar stuff that I drink.
Right.
And like you said, just work away at it.
yeah,
but
it's
pick
It
the
wasn't one.
thing.
It wasn't one that I wrote down as a thing that I was going to do on New Year's, and I didn't really tell anybody either. I was just like, you know what, this is probably something I should do
and
anyway.
that's the other. Okay, so there's two things there, right? It's important that I find like a lot of people, especially with like Twitter and Facebook and the internet as a whole, people like to talk about what they're doing almost like they're trying to impress people, but they aren't really doing it for themselves.
I think that you could come at it from two angles. Either like I'm sure there's some people who are trying to impress people, and other people who are trying to put the bug in their friends' ears to make sure that they stick with it.
I guess. I mean, if you want to do that, then that's great. But I feel like
Just like James, if I drink another soda, put a gun in my mouth and pull the trigger till it goes click.
that would solve the
Help
problem. I mean, it's all, and I mean, stuff like that. It's habit forming, right? I mean, it's another reason why I feel like New Year's resolutions fail so often is because you just don't give it enough time. I mean, I don't remember. Is it like 6 weeks or something like that? 2 months, or there's a number out there that exists that says if you do this for this amount of time,
You make bullshit
becomes
excuses to cut corners.
Yeah, exactly.
Sooner or later.
So it's a combination of not doing it for long enough and taking on too much, right? Like as you said, pick the one small thing, right? Don't come into the year and be like,
you know what, I'm gonna become 6'7", 250 by this time next year.
I'm gonna lose 50
That's
pounds.
Gonna happen.
I'm gonna run a marathon.
Swole as ass.
I'm gonna watch a whole lot of less TV. I'm gonna read 1,000 books this year. I'm only gonna watch movies on the top 250 list of IMDb. And it's just like, what? Stop that. Just pick one thing.
So let me be fair. Yeah, because your daily, monthly, weekly.
That's the thing I was talking about
your
earlier.
Daily, monthly challenge you tried last year. I was like, good on James, but that is ambitious as hell.
It was ambitious as hell. And
good on you for giving it a good shot, because you really did.
yeah, I got about 6 weeks in, and I mean the reason. I don't want to sit here and make up excuses, but the fact is that we go on a yearly ski trip up to our local mountain, and last year we did that, and I took a hard spill on a very stupid toy that I should not have bought.
Oh, that thing.
And I completely thrashed my shoulder to the point where it's fine right now. Like it's fine, but like I still wake up sore. In the winter, I found with the cold, it's even worse. But like that sort of threw me off it, and I feel like I probably just use as an excuse.
Yeah, I do that all the time because it's just like to some extent, this is a really awful thing to do, but like to a large extent, sort of give up on like making plans about anything, because it's just like there's too much random chance. There's too much shit that just happens for no reason. And the best that I figure that I can do is maintain a state of like somewhat readiness and then just see what happens and react to that. But I mean, it's like, it's not a great way to live. That's something that I could probably stand to improve on, because then you keep your expectations like below the floor. and your hope below the floor. It's just like, okay, so I'm lying at the bottom of the canyon. I can't fall any deeper.
Only way up is out. Or
It's like, oh
only
man,
way
those
down is
birds
up.
look like they're having a good time. But I'm trying to think other things. There's a couple things that, not necessarily resolutions, but yeah, it's like the little steps. If you really work at it, you can make it stick. Because a couple years ago, it's not even that long ago that I decided. I think it may have actually started with DailyBot. Was I was like,
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna draw every day, and I have, with some exceptions. I haven't kept it up as well as somebody like Gareth Godin, who I really hope I pronounce his name correctly. He did a comic a day
Yeah.
for years.
Okay.
For years and years, and he only fairly recently stopped. And so what I decided was just like, I'm going to draw something every day. Doesn't have to be good,
Right.
but I'm going to do it. And so I did. And it's been really good because I've seen incremental change,
Yep.
like incremental improvement. And it's now sort of like got me to the level where people are, supporting my Patreon and like tuning into draw streams and like
Yeah.
commissioning my artwork and stuff. And so it's just like, yeah, that if you had said, it's just like, okay, I'm going to get to that in a year or something, or like in 6 months, it's like, that would be crazy. But, you just start, on a tangent, and you just like stick with it, and then you don't burn yourself out, and you don't like hit a wall so easily
Yep.
and ramp it.
I mean, that's kind of what happened. I mean, it's sort of what happened with Loading Ready Run, right? With the weekly sketches.
Yup.
We just kind of started and made this weird
Act.
Yeah, we're just like, we're going to do this once a week. And then we did, and we kept doing it, and we stuck with it. And I remember when Graham and Paul, and it was like one of the first times I ever met Paul. Like, I didn't know Paul before. I didn't really know him before we started Loading Ready Run. And I remember them telling me about this idea weeks before the site launched, about the idea that they were going to make a video every week.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cute. You guys have fun with that.
But, they stuck with it. And that's a big thing, especially in creative stuff, is like, one of the hardest things to me is letting yourself suck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially early on, because your work is gonna suck and it's gonna hurt because you can tell it sucks, but you do it anyways. You have to just like do it and keep doing it and do it over and over and over again. Make lots of mistakes so that you can learn lots of things, and eventually it starts getting better. So it's like, over a course of 6 months you'll get like a couple good videos, and then that becomes like over the course of 3 months you get a couple of good videos, and then just like the successes come more frequently.
Yep.
And with greater magnitude, and then other things sort of attach onto it. So it's like where we are now is sort of all extensions of that original thread.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it just sort of grows and branches out, and it's just a matter of having the power to get through that first phase where not only do you suck, but you suck.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's easy to get discouraged in that phase
so
and
easy.
just give up. I mean, I guarantee you, the majority of people who aim to create something will create something, and it will suck, and not enough.
They'll be disappointed,
and they'll be
just like,
disappointed.
oh, fuck it, I'll never be.
And that it must be even harder. Like, I mean, back at least in the day of no internet, you didn't have the instant.
Yeah.
Like nowadays, you
Yeah.
make something and you put it online, and you're like, why is there, like, I put it on YouTube like an hour ago, and there's only 3 views, and there's 2 likes and 1 dislike.
It's
and,
weird because
oh
it's
my
like
God.
this double-edged sword, right? Because on the one hand, you can get the positive comments being like, "Hey, this is really great."
Yeah.
On the other hand, you can either get no response, or people being like, "Oh, you're a pile of garbage," and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh."
Yeah, and then
So
you kind of feel like, why even bother making more? But part of the thing is like it. The way I feel about it's like SCT for one thing, right? Like, as an improv troupe is like, and I've been doing improv, I guess, now for about 16 years.
God, you're old.
I know, right?
Get out.
So, but to be doing that we did what we were doing before we became SCT, and then we became SCT, and we just kind of keep plugging away at it. We keep putting more stuff into it every year. But part of like what had some frustration is that we put our videos up online, like our live recordings of us doing improv, and we get zero traction.
Yeah.
We get maybe 100 views, maybe 150 views. People who came from the show and maybe they watched it once or twice, they showed their friends, and it's kind of like,
YouTube's so weird.
Why aren't we getting like 1,000 views? Why aren't we getting 10,000 views? Like, we're funny. We should be. And it's like, yeah, but it's not. We learned after a while. It's like this does not translate to YouTube very well.
Yeah.
Didn't mean we gave up the whole thing. We just said that our creative outlet has to be something different.
Yep.
We'll still do the live shows and we'll still do all this other stuff we do.
You also build on a reputation. It's like Late Night Dub Fight packs the auditorium in packs now because people know about it.
Yeah.
They're like, shit, I heard from my friends that there was the funniest shit they ever saw.
Exactly.
So I want to go to that. I want to get in the lineup because it sounds like it's worth it. And then you have all the people show up and they're like, oh, this must be something interesting. I'll check it out too.
Yeah. And then maybe you don't get, like, I know that we've had some where it's been like over 1,000 or whatever views for that. And good on Ian for really pushing that and keeping that going. That's what I'm really happy about, is Late Night Dub Fight's still a thing. But then you approach it from the idea that this is a great live event. Mm-hmm. And who gives a crap if no one's watching it online? What we need to do is get name recognition, and we need to get people to understand it's a thing so that they tell their friends, and then people come out and they watch it live and it gets very popular and gets known, and that's how you, even if it never becomes a thing like on the internet, who gives a crap? If it's a thing at live events that people love to see, that they clamor to come around and see it, there's like lineups a mile long at any event to go see it. It's like, that's a success.
Yep.
Not everybody has to have like a great internet presence. You just have to be doing something you like to do.
Yeah. I mean, I can't stress that enough. To do a lot of work, honestly, the quality is irrelevant. Do tons of work.
Yeah.
And it will become good in time. And it's like, obviously, like, try to do everything you can to try and improve it. But it's just like, the most important thing is just like every day, do the thing over and over and over and over and over, and then you will be good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And there's no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. Anybody trying to sell you a shortcut is lying or selling something.
What about a genie?
We don't talk about the genie. Are you still walking stiff?
We've got that third wish we still have to make. We better
we better use that really well.
$1 million. Oh shit.
So I mean, I guess resolutions are kind of.
Well, I mean, it's like, I don't know.
I think it just comes down to you got to do it for yourself and not just because the calendar says it's the start of a new year. Yeah. And I think that's kind of what we're saying here. It's
if there's a thing you want to do, don't wait till some arbitrary date. Just start today.
Yeah.
Or if it's something that requires daylight, morning.
Yeah.
Please wait until there is light outside.
But you kind of have to outsmart yourself, because you will sabotage yourself at every chance you get. And being aware of how you try to sabotage yourself in very subtle, very insidious ways, because all your own weaknesses.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're just like,
you are your own worst enemy.
We can take a little break. It'll be fine. Nobody will notice.
Yeah.
And then just very gradually fall back into your slouch. And yeah, you're fighting your worst enemy. It's like, in the anime when you fight your doppelganger, you're like, oh, so we're screwed now.
And much like with creative work, where it's like, if you're going to do a lot of creative work, be prepared to suck. And it's like, well, much like with trying to make a resolution for your life, be prepared to fail. Like, be prepared to suck, and just say to yourself, oh, damn it, I didn't do that thing today.
Don't just say, well, it's over.
Yeah, just
right?
be like,
failure is super valuable.
Yeah. It's okay to say, I didn't do it today and I can do it tomorrow, so I'll do it tomorrow.
Well, here's the thing is, like, failure is only failure if you didn't learn something from it. And usually the only way that'll happen is if you didn't look hard enough. It's just like, I figured out something that didn't work today. I have closed off one venue among many, so it's like, we don't go that direction. We'll try this direction.
Yeah.
And then this one. These ones don't work, and then we're sort of bracketing in. It's like artillery.
Yeah. Or you'll try that same direction 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, and it's like that almost worked.
Yeah, I'll try it again. I'll try it again.
With these modifications, maybe that would work.
Yeah.
So,
And then sometimes that doesn't help because I mean, I said to myself, I'm going to get better sleep this year because man, after Desert Bus, I had such good sleep for like a month because when I finally got back to work. And so I was like, I'm going to start sleeping better every night.
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to be great. The last 3 or 4 nights I've been going to bed at 3 a.m, which is stupid.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I know it's stupid. And I'm like, I need to recognize that I'm sabotaging myself.
Yeah, and I mean, as much as it gets to people, and I know that this happens to me all the time, try to not worry about the idea of like wasting time on something, because there's not really any wasted time unless you really choose it to be, because it's like where you start doesn't necessarily dictate where you end up. It's like Tom Lehrer was a mathematician when he started his career and ended up, this amazing performer. And the weird thing is that everything you learn can have relevance in any other field. Like he's worked for, using Tom Lehrer as an example, he's worked mathematics and science and that sort of stuff into his act. And it's really funny because he's an incredibly sharp guy and a great performer. So like, just the knowledge you pick up from everywhere is going to be useful at some point.
Yeah.
Learn
Cool.
everything. Do everything.
All right.
Actually.
Well, I felt like that was a pretty cool discussion.
Nice.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us this week. These episodes will probably be, I feel like these are probably a little shorter than they would normally be. We'll try to make these a little bit longer in the future, but I hope you guys enjoyed Resolutions Part 2. Let us know in the comments what you thought of this episode and what you thought of our opinions combined with Graham and Kathleen and Paul and Cam's opinions. And I want to take a second to thank all of our Patreon supporters, because this year,
you guys,
everything we do it for you, and we do it through our Patreon, which is www.patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. Dear God, you threw me off.
I was like, just power through it, James.
I can't now. I've been mesmerized. But the support that you guys have shown us so far this year has been phenomenal. And that Patreon is going to help produce stuff like the LRRcast and Tap Tap Concede and the Crap Shots and what else? And the mystery box and the streaming that's happening right behind us in this wall, on the other side of this wall right now. People are streaming right now, and it's thanks to you guys, and we really appreciate it. So check out the Patreon. We'll put a link down in the description and maybe even overlay it on the video if I'm feeling saucy in the edit. If I can figure out how to put like words on the screen. That seems pretty tricky. Can I just talk to the computer? Final Cut. Put words on bottom third.
Does not
Siri
compute.
lower third. Yes.
Why do I feel pain?
All right, guys. We will see you in a week for the next episode of Loading Ready Run podcast. Bye, guys.